Welcome to Talks with Tracy, with certified hypnotherapist, life coach, and licensed mental health professional, Tracy Claremont. Tracy will share her healing journey and explore the many meaningful alternative healing methods in our world today that will support you in doing your own deepest emotional healing. So please welcome the host of Talks with Tracy, Tracy Claremont. Let the suffering end and the healing begin.
Hello and welcome to Talks with Tracy. I am your host, Tracy Claremont, coming to you live on the Bold Brave Television Network. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen to this show. And thank you, Bold Brave Television Network, for having me. I also want to say a special hello to my little girl, Lily. She's usually in school during this time, but she is on a special trip. My husband and Lily are going to they're on a trip to go to visit one of our tribal spiritual sites, and so she is able to listen. So, hi, Lily. I hope you have a beautiful day. All right, I've been doing a lot of thinking about how our emotional health and well-being impacts our physical well-being. Last week on episode number 57, I talked about the importance of being our authentic selves and how short-term adaptations that we make for the purpose of survival suppresses our authentic self. We suppress our feelings, our needs. We suppress the beautiful people we really are, just for the purpose of survival, which makes sense. We need to survive, but these are really meant to be short-term adaptations that sometimes can turn into long-term adaptations. And when we do short-term adaptations for the long term, when they never end, then that can cause big problems for ourselves. So when we're not able to be our authentic selves, it's like our pilot light goes out. Feeling disempowered really creates imbalances in our energetic beings, and prolonged imbalances really result in illnesses, mental illnesses like depression and anxiety, maybe big anger issues, or certainly physical illnesses, autoimmune diseases, cancers, all sorts of like skin conditions, headaches, all sorts of different issues can be created from that. Now, my dear friend and colleague, Suzy Woo, she has a really beautiful image representation of this. It's a picture that is it's a blackened silhouette of a person, and in that blackened silhouette are the words "what we think," and out of that blackened silhouette is shining, glowing golden light, and it shines onto this beautiful gold, sparkling, bright silhouette of the same person. And in the golden silhouette are the words "what we are." And I really love that picture. I really love that image. I think it really captures how our adverse life experiences darken our sense of ourselves and create darkened beliefs and create darkened behaviors like suppressing our authentic selves, when really we are still the beautiful golden light that we were originally when we came into this world. It's just that our pilot lights have gone out. So how do we reignite our pilot lights? Well, I am so happy to say that I have the amazing and beautiful Suzy Woo here with me again today to tell us how to do that. First off, to talk about how that happens and what that looks like energetically in our bodies, and then talk about how to change this. Now, Suzy has been so incredibly generous with her time and her wisdom, um, donating time and wisdom to Talks with Tracy on numerous episodes. And spoiler alert, I plan on having her on as many episodes as she's agreeable to. I love having these discussions with her. But in case this is her first time hearing of Suzy Woo, she is an internationally recognized energy healer. She's a trainer and a teacher of these healing arts. I am a student of hers. She's also a psychic medium and an astrology guide. And so much more. She does so many things and has such great services. I strongly recommend her to anybody who's interested in healing. So all of this makes her the perfect guest to have on to answer this question: how do we reignite our pilot lights? So I'm so very thankful for her. Please join me in welcoming the amazing and beautiful Suzy Woo back to the show. Hi.
Yay!
Yay! Good morning. How are you?
I laughed. Kermit the Frog.
Pure
I am
energy. I love
awesome.
it.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for the
yes.
invitation to read here. It's a lot of fun. I
Oh,
think we gel well together.
yes, and you make these discussions, I know I've told you, you make these discussions so easy for me, and I just am able to relax into them and whatnot. So I really appreciate you being here. Now, that image that I just described with the blackened silhouette and the words, what we think, and then the shining golden silhouette with uh, what we are, that actually came from it was a slide that you used for the course that I just completed with you. And I really love that image. It just really spoke to me. So maybe, we can start by talking about this concept of adverse experiences, snuffing out our pilot lights. So I know that I have been there myself. I have had to reignite my pilot light to reach that golden silhouette for myself. And I know that you have had uh, adverse experiences certainly in your life where you've had to do the same. Can you just talk about how what you see in the work that you do with people? I mean, that's really common, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So everybody has a childhood wound. Everyone's not exactly aware of it. And
Mhm.
what happens is, let's say we want to grow up and be a musician, but our parents are dentists and they want us to be a dentist, and they might snuff out our dream of wanting to be a musician. And when we're young, we are powerless in our family dynamic. And then we go on to school and we're further pigeonholed into being normal and standard, which is in effect taking away what makes us who we are and our spark, that inner spark. And so what happens is when we get into our later 20s, in astrology, that's going to be our first Saturn return. Our friends are marrying off and buying houses and having kids. And we're like, I don't know what I'm doing yet. And if we're playing by the rules and living safely, doing what everyone else wants us to do, we're going to be very unhappy. And it's that point that one will either start turning to drugs and alcohol, other coping
Mm,
strategies, other escapism techniques, because they're simply not happy and they don't know what to do. And underlying is feeling like a failure. When truly all that's
mm,
going on is you weren't given permission to pursue the things that light you up, or you've been taught that it's no good or you're not good enough or you never
mhm.
will.
Oh, yeah, and certainly trauma kind of experiences in our childhood really snuffs out that light for sure. When we experience traumatic kind of experiences, we really learn that we have to suppress all our needs and all our feelings just to hang on to, or just to survive. So, uh, what you're talking about are experiences that are common to everybody, right? Common to
Yeah,
everybody. We get conditioned, we get programmed, and we get conditioned and programmed right out of being our authentic selves. So that happens in general terms. And then when you add traumatic experiences onto that, then it even manifests itself in long-term behavioral patterns that really don't serve us and really snuff out our light. Would you agree?
absolutely. Yeah, because everybody has that influence from those in a position of authority, and including our caretakers. But now you add some trauma to that, and now all bets are off the table because you're convinced you're no good, you have no power, or they're all laughing at you, or that's a stupid idea. And so you pretty much write yourself off and you live small, with no fire in the belly. And then that leads to, escapism. And really what that is are all kinds of ways to induce self-harm, self-sabotage, self-loathing. They're just whatever the outlet of choice based on the path of least resistance is. If there's, booze in the family pantry or whatever, maybe we tap into that, or just something that takes us out of the shell because we're not allowed to feel alive inside.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then, repeated experience with that takes us so far off our path from our authenticity. It creates such a great disconnect, but internally and emotionally, psychologically, we feel that impact of it. We feel it, and then we store it in our body, right? We store all that emotion related to uh, not being able to be who we are, not being accepted, not feeling truly not feeling unconditional love for whatever reason. We end up storing that in our body, right? And in energies.
Which will manifest as illness eventually. What once we're an adult, we're still operating from that subconscious programming of who we think that we are based on how those around us are interacting with us. So it's kind of like henpecking, a pecking order. And so you're afraid to pop your head up because you're going to get like whack-a-mole, bap, 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 get back down there. Don't think you're special. This is about me. And that leads to depression or anger, depending on the character type. And yes, as you said, it does get stored in the body. And when I'm doing healing on somebody, like I see it in my inner vision. But really, the point I wanted to make here is that when that lifestyle continues of not being who you truly want to be, and the conditions stay over a period of time, it's going to manifest as a symptom. So the universe, we live in just such a wonderful, we are just a miracle, period. And the universe wants us to win. But when we're conditioned, we think that we can't, and then everybody reinforces that. And so then we give up and we don't even try, and we play small for the rest of our lives, and we're miserable. Depending on the personality, some of us are going to hold that as resentment. So if you hold resentment over a long period of time, it's probably going to end up manifesting as a stomach cancer. It could manifest as sciatica, lower back. Um, what I love about vibration and frequency is that you have this big comforter, this big layer of energy around you. I can't see my other hand here, so it's kind of like this, that everything that you are is stored in around your body. And it's a few feet thick. All your memories, your copy of who you are continues to get projected into that. And so it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Let's use this example. I don't speak up for myself. I don't stand up for myself. I might have to speak an untruth to protect myself. Over a long, long period of time, the universe is going to step in, tapping you on the shoulder. You need to speak your truth. This person is talking you down. You're not saying anything back. You're letting them run all over you. You've got tire tracks on your back. Yo, yo, yo. So there's all these little opportunities that show up in your intuition. It gets louder and louder. And now it might be a realization. I have fear. I'm afraid to speak up for myself because I don't want to be further rejected or humiliated, embarrassed, whatever it is, or abused. And then if you still do nothing about it after the universe tries many times, it will show up now as a physical manifestation, which is going to, in this instance, be a thyroid problem, a throat, a neck
Mm.
problem, because this is the seat of communication, which is directly correlated with creativity, believe it or not. So you're going to end up developing writer's block or a creative block, feeling I'm not creative. I can't do anything because everybody else just wants me to stay gray. I'm not able to have my colors. And so that's the way that it works. And science backs it up, even though they don't want to talk about it. But that's truly the way that it works. So it's here. And that is why using tuning forks, for example, will help to clear the auric or aura, the auric field. And so if there's a circumstance or conditions that you're living in or under that are not supportive of you, what you want to do and your goals and your dreams, eventually that's going to show up here, and then you still don't pay attention. Now it's going to show up here. So if you have any physical conditions whatsoever, pain, muscle tension, lumps, tumors, anything, it has been there for a long time, and you didn't listen to the creator trying to say, yo, come on, let's get you in the groove. You got to do something about this.
Mm, absolutely. Now, you did mention that these things are scientifically proven, and I know you well enough to know that you actually, when you started into this field, you were somebody who was like, you know what? I need proof. I need to. How is this true? Can you? I think for the naysayers out there, um, can you just talk about how that when you came into this, you were like, I want to see proof, and then how did that come to you?
Yeah, so I am a super skeptic. I don't believe anybody. And when I witness something, I'm still looking for the smoke and mirrors until I do it or I see a physical outcome right in front of my eyes. I had started my journey in the healing part with Reiki, which is beautiful and soft and gentle and subtle. But I'm not a soft, subtle personality type. I was when I was under the control in my marriage. And even in my growing up years, I never spoke up. And so
Mhm.
now I've been able to plug into my natural character, which is fire. I'm a fiery Leo, and my rising sign is Scorpio, which is very, very skeptical. I don't trust. And so I started doing my Reiki stuff, got my certifications, all that stuff. And I'm doing my stuff. I'm not really feeling anything. And my clients are like, oh, I feel so much better. And I'm thinking, I think they're just saying it to make me feel good. And this is how I truly felt. So then I'm like, well, this is not good. I need to know that what I'm doing is actually doing something, and I need to measure and quantify this. So I started looking high and low, like how I need something. And I found this well, really, it's over a $10,000 system, which just starting out, no way I could afford. And then I found a more consumer level device, which I happen to have right here, and it's called AuraFit. And it's German technology. And I connected with the creator of it, and we hit it off famously. So I bought in, and I loved it so much that I got trained and certified, and now I can teach people, and I'm a reseller in the United States. But when I had first received the device, I was terrified to use it. Because what if there was no difference? Oh, I was so afraid. And so I had sat on the device for a good 3 months, terrified. What if, because we get that imposter syndrome, feeling like a phony. Well, I had a woman client come in, and she had such a great result that she brought her skeptical boyfriend. So now I'm like, okay. And 3 months after having and not using, not even trying this device on anybody, I got a little voice saying to use it on this guy. Oh no, inside. So inside, I'm a little bit panicky about it, but I do trust my guide. So I don't trust people, but I trust my guidance. So I'm like, all right. And of course, in front of my client, I have to be this cool, calm, collective. So I said, well, I have this device and this is going to measure your energy. And so when I had placed it on the boyfriend, he was all red. The entire aura was red, which means very low energy, stress, trauma, physical pain. Um, And if you're in that kind, which is also going to be scarcity mindset. So I had asked him, do you have physical pain? Oh, yeah. He had been in a car accident and he had horrible sciatica, horrible. And not happy with his pain management or whatever the doctors gave him because it made him loopy. So he was upset and angry at conventional medicine. And he's given me a shot because the girlfriend had such a great experience. He saw the change in her. So I show him the aura and I explain what it means. And of course, I'm still nervous on the inside. I do the healing and I'm watching live on the tablet, which this is not in action, but it's what the app looks like. So you can see this here. And so, oops.
Oh,
Okay. And so there's the aura and the balls of light are the chakras. And I watched as the colors started to change. And I was like, oh, I was so excited. And then I closed my eyes and completed the treatment. I did the second capture at the end of the treatment. And then we come back to the table and he felt miraculous. He felt miraculous. He had more range of motion. And I said, okay, so let's now see what your after looks like. And then now I'm getting scared because it's the first one. And I'm like, what if there's no difference? And so I'm trying my best poker face and I pull it up and it was these beautiful blues and greens and so I'm like, oh my God. And at the same time, shoot. And I'm like, ooh, this is a very nice difference. It's quite dramatic. And so now that was trusting my guides and proving correct. And the man is in front of me explaining how he feels now. And here's the witness's girlfriend. And so ever since that point, which was several years ago now, all of my in-person clients get a before and after scan. And as we go through a day, there's different stimuli that comes at us. So sometimes there's going to be people who are angry around us, and that can make us feel red, almost like we're under threat. And then the blood might go to our legs, which is an instinctual reptilian response. Like I might need to get out of here or get away from this person. But when we are looking at beauty, when we're seeing a beautiful sunrise or looking at the stars, when we're in a state of awe, we almost leave our body. And it's so cool. And what happens is those balls on the thing, they're your chakras. We move into the upper chakras. So when we're in the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, really what's going on is I see you, God or creator or whatever label you use. Oh, the awe of that. And then the creator's putting right into you in that moment. You are that. You're that too. This is not a conscious thing. It's what the energetic exchange is. And when I have the device on somebody and all of a sudden the purple blows open, I know that they're having a spiritual dialogue. It's so exciting. So I can watch and witness a person's energy. And then when we're done and we compare notes, they get to tell me this is what I experienced. Sometimes I can even feel the person above watching me, that my client, even though they're here on the healing table, I feel them above. And they'll tell me, I actually saw what you were doing. It's the coolest thing to have somebody witness and provide the immediate feedback that justifies and validates what my experience is, which to somebody else might be considered a bit woo-woo, but This is a biofeedback measuring device. I didn't write the software. This is an independent something that I have learned how to use. And so it's like, I wonder if I can control this thing. So I'll put it on and I'll tape it or, film it because I see better with my eyes closed. And I test it too. When people are drinking alcohol, I did an outdoor concert event, and I was doing aura readings, and every single person that was drinking an alcohol drink had a red aura, and there were probably 30. And so evidentially, I can support now that alcohol lowers the frequency of the human condition, and I can evidence that. Now I never let somebody see. So my client in my office is going to sit in front of me and I'm going to take it and because I've also measured. And if I let them see it, they start critiquing it and judging it immediately. And so it starts to turn red because the critical mind starts kicking in and they want me to see it a certain way. So you can control that with your mental pattern and your intentions, but you can't fool it because some people will come in and I'll put it on them and I'll see their energy start going up and I'll say, don't go meditating on me. And then I'll see them come back into the body and then the real stuff starts to show up.
Yeah, I love your example of you doing doing that with people who were under the influence of alcohol. I think that's a really amazing example because, I mean, how do people generally look when they're under the influence of alcohol? Like they're having the time of their lives, right? They're laughing, they're doing all of this, and it's interesting to know that that's what the outward appearance is, and the actual what is happening energetically is actually red, like stifling. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's the
super
opposite.
interesting.
I mean, we might think because alcohol can give you euphoria, but it's doing the opposite to your physical body. And let's also say, alcohol is like, to me, it's like an enhancer, it's like a magnifying glass. And so if you're a happy person and you drink, like if it were me, I'm going to be a really happy drunk. But if it was somebody like my ex who was very, very angry at his life and the world, then he's going to be a very angry drunk. But still, even if it's me and my happy drunk, it's still going to show red because it's biofeedback, and this thing measures your blood alcohol. I mean, not your blood alcohol, your blood oxygen, your heartbeat. So it's a little bit more technical than just showing you pretty pictures, and it gives you a wonderful 15-page color report. So again, I like evidence, and this provides the evidence, but it's also supported my training, my understanding of the body. And I did an example. So I'll take the thing and I'll do a class. And so 10 people sitting in a circle, and everyone gets an aura reading after my little introduction and education about how your thoughts impact your physical health. And so one person's wearing it, and the person next to her was opening like a hard candy. You know how loud, like a peppermint candy, how loud the crinkling of that is, right? So the person's opening the candy, and the woman wearing the thing, it started off beautiful greens, and then the crinkling, and it went red. So I could see that this person was being irritated by the sound of the candy wrapper.
Wow, that's amazing. I love those examples. Thank you for sharing that. It's time to take a brief commercial break, but when we come back, I'd really like to get into talking about how, like, different parts of our body and symbolically what is stored in these different areas of our body. I know that I have also learned that from you. So I'd love to talk about that when we come back. But right now, it's time to take a brief commercial break. Thank you, Suzy. You're watching Talks with Tracy on Bold Brave Television Network. We'll be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to Talks with Tracy on Bold Brave Television Network. I have the honor and privilege to be in with one of my very favorite people, the amazing Suzy Woo today. Before the break, we were talking about how, we can even monitor the energies in our bodies and our being, and I just think that's super interesting. And I do know a lot of people in my life who want scientific evidence and proof. It's like talking to my husband about Bigfoot. Well, I've never seen one. Well, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Things like that. So I love your example. I'd like to talk about different body parts, kind of the symbolism of where we hold different things. And I have this cheat sheet from your class, and it's a cheat sheet. It's hard for me to say cheat sheet, from Eileen McCusick. And she actually goes down different parts of the body and the symbolic representation of what is held in these different places. For example, it starts at the head, and it says that that's related to identity. So just to use that as an example, if we were to talk about migraine headaches, I see a lot of clients who have severe headaches, migraine headaches that are really debilitating. Can you talk about, from your experience, from the perspective of energy? I mean, I know we're not medical doctors, so we don't claim to be, but from the perspective of energy and your vast knowledge of healing, can you talk about what migraine headaches might be about?
Yeah, so migraines have to do with a horrible, overburdening exterior stimuli. And so this is going to be not just helicopter parents, but abrasive parents. And this is now starting to loop with asthma. So people who are too what's that word? Not suffocated, claustrophobic. So other people in your household making you feel I have no privacy, I have no room to speak or do anything. I want to forge ahead. I want to do what I want to do, and everyone else is giving me irritation over it. Bam, migraines. Not feeling included, not feeling wanted, being argued against all the time, constantly have to, it wears you down. Constantly have to speak up for yourself. No, this is what I want to do. I don't want to do what you want to do. And that confrontation starting at a young age is going to give you migraines. And then that's going to be reinforced by siblings, by teachers, and then by your bosses and your coworkers. And energy healing actually has remedied people. So I've got a long list of people who don't get migraines anymore. And if they do feel some kind of an attack coming on, it's nowhere near. It's only like a 15%, where a full on migraine, you're vomiting and everything. So that would be like 100%. But very, very effective. So the head overall is the identity. And so think about if people are thwarting you for doing what you want to do, there's irritation, because think inflaming, like what's going to inflame? It's going to be anger. People who are like nasty and trying to make, like, snuff you out, like you can't do that, is going to result in migraines.
Right.
Did you want to
Well,
keep
and
going? Did you want me to like go to other body parts, or did you want to?
yeah, I just want to say something before we move on from the migraines is, what you're describing again, it likely starts in childhood, right? Again, with that just suppression of your own self, your own wants, your own needs, your own person, all of that, and then goes long term. And I agree with totally with what you're saying. That irritation, that frustration, and I would maybe throw in there like be feeling unappreciated. I'd kind of throw that in there too. Do you think?
Feeling underappreciated and not being able to express how you feel with your emotions is also going to give you stuff with your shoulders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, talk about
Yeah.
that, please.
Yeah. So we can kind of split the body vertically. Any injuries on the left side has to do with self-care and slowing down, taking time to nurture yourself. Any injuries on the right side has to do with your yang energy, which is how I go after what I want. Putting my best foot forward, being able to take action. So the right side is action oriented, where the left side is nurturing and supportive. So that's a super shortcut. I like super simple. If it is your left shoulder, actually your shoulders overall are carrying the weight of the world, you're going to have a slouch. You're going to have curved shoulders. And then most people have a lot of muscle tension in those, in above the, what is that, your trapezoids? I don't know what they are, but the muscles in the back of your neck. There's a lot of tension, like a physical lump sometimes in the shoulders. This has to do with unexpressed emotions. And sometimes it's related to the parent. Left side is the nurturing parent, right side is the parent that wears the pants. When we have a throat issue, it's not speaking up for ourselves over a long period of time. But shoulders are important because it's how we can carry loads. Most people carry the load for everyone else. Very recently, I've had a string of clients who energetically, not physically, when I rebalance the shoulders, the left one slumps, like almost at a 45-degree angle. Again, just energetically, not physically. And so what I'll have to do is I release all the weights and burdens, which a lot of times is generational. So we're carrying the weights and burdens that our parents endured, and their parents and their parents. And so after we get rid of all that, we stabilize the shoulders, and then I'll put like bracing supports and splints and all kinds of things to keep it in place. And then I'll test it and I'll make sure it's flexible. And then that helps them to carry just their own load and stop taking on everybody else's stuff. It looks like you wanted to say something, so I'm going to pause.
Oh no, I was just noticing that our connection is a little bit fuzzy, but it's on both our parts, so it's not
Oh,
on your end. So
okay.
shoulders, you were saying that shoulders, we carry the burden, and um, also the burden of past generations. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Right,
yeah. And that's going to be subconscious because we don't know. Our parents don't always tell us of their burdens. When it's subconscious, we don't know. And that's what I love when I see
right.
somebody's energy. I can see it and explain it. And a lot of times they can verify that if their parents are still around.
Mm, right, right. I know that I myself, when I go to get a massage, I have knots all in my upper back, like
Which
physical
means
knots.
you're
And
doing
so
too
that makes
much
sense
for
to me. And
everybody
then
else.
also, oh, doing too much for everybody else.
That's what it means.
I can relate to
Directly.
that. Yeah, thank you. I can relate to
Which
that.
means also you need to
Also, shoulders.
delegate. I'm sorry.
I need to.
Delegate. You got to
I need to
delegate and
what?
lighten your load. Delegate and
Delegate.
lighten your load. Mm-hmm.
Delegate and lighten my load.
Because the last thing you want is a
Wow.
frozen shoulder.
Yes.
And if you don't remedy things, they're not going to get better. They're going to get worse.
Right. Yeah, because these are things that have existed for a long period of time. And if we don't take care of it, then it can develop into something worse.
Exactly.
Right. So then shoulders are also associated with unexpressed emotion. Is that correct?
Unexpressed anger, unexpressed sadness, not feeling heard, and then when we're suppressed. So I really wanted to say XYZ, but I wasn't allowed to, or people are shutting me down. And so that's going to be stored here and then also in the shoulders themselves.
Nice. So let's see some of these other parts. You mentioned the throat area with let's see. I guess it would be breathing lungs, suffocation around in your surroundings. I see here that skin. A lot of people have skin issues related to emotion. I know that as well. I experienced that in my own practice, and that symbolically is connected to fear of life or a reaction from a person or a situation. Can you talk about some skin conditions? Lots of people break out in horrible rashes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so interestingly, and this is not newfangled stuff. This is ancient. It is woven into astrology, and so skin is related to the sign of Virgo. And even if somebody is not if they're not born in Virgo season, we all have Virgo in our chart, and we all have an area of life that's ruled by Virgo. And so what that is, it's a skin sensitivity, food sensitivities, allergens, and what happens is somebody who's real creepy is in the same room, and not only does the hair stand up, but we suddenly break out in hives, and we might not even
Mm,
know who the person is. But if we do, it's usually a lot worse. Now I'm understanding that could show up as thrush, which is a rash on the inside of
oh,
your throat. So somebody needed to hear that. It's different from the goosebumps. The goosebumps usually is a spiritual truth. Hair standing up on the skin, that is an alertness. Sometimes it could be fear related, but not always. When our skin suddenly is, so if it's an inflammation like a rash and hives, then that is resistance. So somebody coming along with their overbearing energy, let's say, and then you feeling small or insignificant, and I can't do anything about it. I'm trapped in a corner, and then your skin goes nuts and you've got rashes and hives.
mm, hmm, that makes sense. I like that. Um, are there, so you do so many healings on so many different people. Are there some issues or areas of the body that are like that many people have versus others? Are what would be the most common, would you say, areas of the body that are impacted by energy like this?
Well, there's clear PTSD, what PTSD looks like, and emotional burden and betrayal and scarcity mindset. And that signature is too much red. Their root chakra is super big. And what that means is I am worried. Someone's talking about me. Another bill's going to happen that I can't afford. What's coming at me now? OMG. So it's this panic, fear, scarcity mindset. And so your nervous system is on overdrive, and that directly is your mind as well. And sometimes it's a coping mechanism. Some people can be reactive or defensive as a coping mechanism. So the root will be overcharged, too much emphasis in what I call the 3D world, which is at the most primitive level. I got to pay bills. I got to support myself. It is money. And so the most common one is too much in the root chakra because we're too worried about making ends meet, survival, being able to take care of myself. And then if I have others, I got to take care of them too. So all of that, too much in the root, goes along with not enough in the throat. So we'll see big red and small blue, which means I'm afraid of speaking up for myself, or I don't know how. Maybe I've got, manipulative bosses or whatever. But I don't know where my next money is coming from. I can't afford for myself to get a flat tire. All that kind of and this is also anger, betrayal. But one extremely powerful statement that I just love to help put it in perspective about anger. And anger is masked helplessness. There's so much power in that. The next time you get mad, pull yourself out of the scene and ask, why am I mad? And then follow it all the way until the bottom and see what you get, because really it's going to say, well, it's because I felt helpless in that situation. And when you can get to that truth, that's enough. And you could kind of skip away knowing that you got to the bottom of it. But then, of course, the other side is, what am I going to do about it? It may be I'm going to not go around that person because they're always trying to make me feel small. So there always has to be an action to counter what your situation is, because energy doesn't lie. When you pretend, put on a good show, like when somebody's trying to meditate to put on a good display in my tablet, they can't hold it. So once they're actually on the healing table, it goes to the red or it goes to the orange. It goes to the truth, because you can only kind of fake it for so long.
Right.
Also, with
So,
scarcity mindset and money is back, lower back. So a lot of people have lower back pain. Sciatic is pretty common, and I can feel it too. So sometimes it'll be a little jolt or a twist or a pinch every now and then, where if somebody's not careful when they get up, that. So that is, you're not being flexible enough with other ways that you can earn income or be more resourceful. People might tend to hoard or be afraid. So when you're afraid to spend money, you are cutting yourself off from getting more money. I love that I have an example. My oldest son my oldest son is building a house on my property, and so he's kind of strapped because building is not a cheap thing. Well, he also wants to contribute to the household because he utilizes, utilities and whatnot. So the other day he gives me $300, and I'm spinning in my head like, should I accept this? And I had to reach my own level of maturity to say, let him pay you, accept this. Okay. So I do. And then I had a personal epiphany as I was going to bed. Well, actually, it was a message from my guides. This is only 2 nights ago. And so what it was is the flow of money. So as he pays me, it helps him. It's like opening the dam, maybe. It's freeing his capacity to receive more. And then for me to receive, it opens me up to receive more too. So it means that I'm going to have more to spend, more to give, more to share as I learn how to receive everything. So like you can't only exhale, right? So there's always has to be a yin and a yang, a give and a receive versus take. Allowing that flow. Because here's the thing: when we're terrified of spending money, when I was broke as a joke, I was down to my last $40, and my youngest was still in grade school, and he got off the bus. He had a hole in his shoes, and somebody commented to him. And so, of course, that breaks my heart. You just hit me in the feels. So I took my last $40. I took him and I got him a new pair of shoes. And then that day when we got back, I got the mail and I got a check for $50 in the mail. It was a payment that I didn't think I would ever see. Same child, this is my youngest. I didn't have a lot of money still. And it's carnival weekend, the big carnival of the year. He wants to go with his friends. I don't really have anything extra, but I had $50 in my wallet until I don't know when. I give him the $50. And then the day after that, I got a job for $275. So I let him know after I got that opportunity. And then that planted the seed. And then that same cycle happened multiple more times. So my youngest, who is now 21, has gotten to see the truth that when you squander and you hang on to your last penny, you are preventing that flow of energy exchange, which means you're cutting yourself off from being able to receive more. When you release that and you let it flow, now you're also letting it come back to you. And that's the law of reciprocity.
Right. Oh, I love that. That's super interesting. So, thank you for sharing an example from your life too. By the way, I think you're kind of like me. You're an open book on this on this show. So, speaking of being an open book, again, going down the different body parts and the symbolism, I see on here that knees is listed, and that is symbolically associated with rigidity. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was interesting because I've always thought of myself as kind of like a pretty free flowing kind of person. But I have a problem with my right knee. And I have had problems. It used to be with both knees, but the left one seems to be fine. But just some, some pain, stiffness in my right knee. So, in the little time we have left, can you tell me, um, using me as an example, what that might be about? And I know when you do your talks, you also kind of sense things. So can you please tell me what pain in your knees may be about?
Yes, and it is rigidity. When we have issues in the knee, okay, so let's go water on the knee or swelling in the knees. That
Mm-hmm.
is emotional backlog. So there's too
Mm-hmm.
much and just thinking like having to lance a boil. So if it's water, water is emotions. If there's water on the knee, that means there's too many emotions not being expressed. When there is, excuse me, knee pain, let's get rid of the water. So we've got pain in the knees, bad pain in the knees. That means that you're not going with the flow. It means that you're being very controlling about the outcome that you want to see and that it's not being honored or respected. And now there's, and it creates like, bone on bone or a lot of muscle tension, inflammation. I feel that this is the way I want to go, and there's only one way to get there. I don't like that way, and the world around me is showing me this, and it's making me very uncomfortable, unexpressed. I want to be able to take care of myself this way. Well, are you taking an action that's in alignment to it? Or are you feeling helpless, overburdened? There might be some shame in there. Well, I didn't have the money to support my family unit then, and I'm still struggling there now, and I have not good or not comfortable feelings around that. And so it's going to gather in the knees because it has to do with providing. The bones, actually knees go with the sign of Capricorn, which is a financial thing. And the knees also go with the root chakra. So that, again, that's survival, it's finances, it's stability. And when we're feeling unstable, we fall over, we topple over. If our knee gives out, we're going to be on the floor. We fall.
Yes, that's
When
true.
we have nice bouncy knees, that means I accept that I cannot change everything in my life and I can't control everything in my life. And so I'm going to see how it goes, and I'm going to be flexible enough to adjust as things come at me and not just expect one way to get to where I want to be.
Right. Well, thank you. I will take all of that as a lesson for myself. And that it's super helpful because those are things, those are areas that I can then focus on and notice in my life and meditate on and shift. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for everything, Suzy. Oh my gosh. We just fly through these shows. It seems like we just get started and it's already time to go. It is time to go. Can you please share with us how people can get a hold of you for services? Totally recommend you. How can we reach you?
Yes, thank you. The fastest, easiest way is my website, which there's a dash in between. It's Suzy-Woo, SUZY-WOO.com. And in this year, 2025, I am hosting lots of retreats, 1-day, 2-day retreats for all different things. I'm doing a highly sensitive person retreat in Rochester, New York at the end of May. I'm doing a Lionsgate retreat in August. I'll be coming out to Montana in the fall.
Yay!
We don't have those dates yet, but and I think I'm also going to be hitting up New Mexico, Albuquerque, this year as well. Maybe
Wonderful.
Phoenix, but that might have to go into next year. So anything about reading your energy, helping you understand your birth chart, which is going to give you your health, including mystery illnesses. Like, I'm an expert at that. So where modern medicine, where it doesn't show up on an x-ray or a CAT scan or your blood work, I can detect those, explain what it is, and then not only help it for you, but tell you how you can take care of it after our session is over, like to prevent it from coming back.
Beautiful. Yay. Thank you for that. I'm so excited. I can't wait till you come to Montana. It's going to be so much fun. Yay. So,
I want to see
and
elk.
that's
You have elk, right?
oh my gosh. My daughter actually counted 33 deer in our on our land on our way out to the highway yesterday.
Wow.
It was
Wow. Well, we have a
amazing.
lot of deer in New York, but we don't have elk. Don't you have elk
Yeah,
there?
elk. Oh yeah, we have elk for sure. We have
Yeah, I want
everything.
to
It's
see
just
elk.
beautiful.
I
Anyway,
can't
thank
wait.
you for being here today. If anybody wants to hit me up for services or check me out, my website is tcholistichealing.com. Thank you so much, Suzy. It was great having you. It's time to go. This has been Talks with Tracy on Bold Brave Television Network. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
This has been Talks with Tracy. Join us each week as Tracy and her guests will come together and realize that underneath it all, we are all the same and never alone. So join us each week and let Talks with Tracy be your safe place to land in your healing journey. Right here, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.